Good man. I need to do something about that biography. It makes me seem like I'm Kreskin the musician or something. That's it's a little too much. Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Chaz, for the invitation. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, everybody who's part of this organization. I'm Jason Taylor Morgan, and living up to that introduction is going to be a challenge. However, I will do my best. It's getting harder for me to define what I do. Energy master seems really nebulous. I don't really know what it means. I have one of those gifts where I can do extraordinary things with energy, and I always have been able to do it, but I really have gone much more into bringing it out into the world over the past 3 years. Over the past 3 years, I've had 8 different websites, and 11 different elements that we need to start working with in order to evolve. One is the brain, emotions, the body, imagination, senses, energetics, spirituality, consciousness, third eye, soul, all leading to our timeless self. So I've been working over these past few years of helping people to evolve, literally, to evolve. Because if you think about it, if we as a species do evolve, and if we survive ourselves over the next 30 years, that might be if we can do that, then we might last another 1,000 if we can kind of get through what we're going through now. But picture humanity evolved down the road where it's not just intellectual, it's not just spiritual, it's not just consciousness, that our bodies shift, our brains shift. We can't evolve as long as we have 3D emotions. We just can't. They are so overwhelming. They have a mind of their own. You know, we live our lives, we filter everything through mind and emotions. In order to get beyond that, we have to go back and heal the past, but more than that, we have to evolve emotionally. We have to take our emotional abilities to the next step, which is a much more energetic, much less dramatic, much more empowering state. And I've been doing that with lots of people, hundreds. I have clients all over the world. I do 20 or 25 sessions a week. I do a lot of events. So my work has, for some reason, my work never stops. I'm always pushing boundaries. I'm always trying to push through human thinking. I'm always trying to bring my work to another level where it helps people not just to heal, but to start shifting, changing, understanding energetics. If you're a spiritual professional, your energetics become so much more expansive, so much more controlled, so much more able to do things that you were never able to do before. So the progression of my life with my spiritual ADD and all those different websites, I finally hit last year where I felt like what I was doing was creating all the layers. And I felt like I had finally sort of had a pyramid of my work. And I finally felt like on top, now I understand all of this. So I teach and I heal and I bring people through evolutionary process. I work with kids with Asperger's. I work with people that have tremendous horrible histories of abuse. I can do things with people who need to get through blocks. I was thinking, this is probably going to raise some controversy. I've worked with about 4 or 5 people who grew up Catholic, and they have a hard time getting out of the Catholic programming, a really difficult time. And so I was thinking, maybe I should specialize in helping Catholics not be Catholics anymore. But you know, that I don't think that would work. But it doesn't have to be Catholics, but basically working through programming, through everything, what I call that we have. Let me back up a bit. One of the things I also realized was that in order to evolve, we need to push through human-centric thinking. And human-centric thinking is very 3D, that we have limitations on everything. 3D thinking is that we have to believe in things, that we have to carry our pasts around, that we're afraid to make bold statements and live our lives the way we want to live, that you can leave a religion, that you don't have to genuflect in front of people, that you can actually move beyond all these things and start expressing yourself, who you really are, rather than following a master, following a program, following a modality. So a lot of my work is also to literally work with people's brains, because there seems to be some little mechanism in there that in a way keeps us on our knees, keeps us needing to be told how to live, how to be spiritual, what path to take. And a lot of my work goes beyond that, so you start understanding intrinsically who you are in a very deep, deep truth. So that you don't need anyone else to tell you who you are. You start understanding who you are here, and your spirituality, your consciousness, your evolution is beautiful. It's not following anybody's path. It's exploring your own journey. So tonight, rather than talk about myself, which I'm not thrilled about doing, but at the same time, I'm really excited that I have brand new work coming through. It's called Starpoint Energetics, and I have created maybe 8 or 9 different types of energy work. That probably any one of them, I could have just done that for the rest of my career. Or I could have just become a healer and kept innovating new ways to heal and to evolve emotions and how to get our senses to push out from just the 5 senses we have in the 6th, to push them out further. Or helping people evolve from just a 3D orientation to 5D, which is just advanced human evolution. So when you think about 2012 and being progressing through and evolving, we all know that we're going through a process right now with 2012 that we are shifting into a 5th dimensional orientation. And so instead of making that so cryptic, I've tried to make it as understandable as possible. And my work until now has been very abstract. So working with people, you either understand what I'm saying and what you're feeling, or you don't. This is the first time that I've been able to create something that actually has sequential steps, that there are things you can learn, and there's a path which you can take it. And that's thrilling to me because I don't like regimentation. I like people to be able to find all that deep truth and that innovation and that instinct and that creativity inside themselves. So Starpoint started coming to me in, I think, December, January. And how it usually does, I'm also a novelist, and I wrote 4 novels while I was ill for all that period of time. So my mind can think big, and I can keep a lot of information in it. And I can keep plot structures, and I can keep characters, and I can do all that. I can do that. So when Starpoint started coming through, I got a lot of visions of these different sort of constellations. But this is me, and I'm very skeptical about, things that really aren't authentic. I think in many ways the New Age served us beautifully. But at this point, to me, it seems like it's too chaotic. There are too many masters. There's just a lot of confusion in it. And I like to try to get my work elevated above that if I can. So Starpoint started coming to me, and I knew that I hadn't created anything new for about a year. What I had done with a lot of the 3D to 5D work last year was just improve it and bring it out to people and teach it and to bring people through a lot of their own changes and shifts. And it was beautiful. I've worked with hundreds of people, and it's really good work. And I thought, how can I top that? And nothing happened for a year, and then Starpoint started coming through. And if you think about it, evolution, what makes 2012 and what makes us shift into advanced human evolution and the shift is that the energetics of the universe are hitting the planet in a very different way, helping us evolve very fast. If you think back during human history, we have had many ages, many periods of time. There's been Stone Age, there's been Stone Age to Iron Age. There's been a progression all the way up. We've gone through the Renaissance, we've gone through Dark Ages, the medieval times, right up until Industrial Revolution, right up until the New Age, Technology Age, and we're up to now, which is kind of the energetic age. There have been shifts that have been undetected, energetic shifts from wherever, that have come to the planet and have kind of seeded a lot of people starting to evolve ahead of other people. So that's my explanation. That's not particularly intellectual, but at the same point, in a nutshell, that's how it's happened. And so at this point, human history needs to evolve pretty fast because we're really not going in the right directions. But at the same time, I think humanity has evolved to a point where while we're embodied and while we're in 3D, we can start evolving into what's next, which is the whole 5th dimensional element, where we don't think linearly anymore. Our brain evolves. We don't think in terms of left and right hemisphere. Our brain starts to just pulsate in a different way. Our emotions are not keeping us captive. We build a whole different relationship with them. We understand them much better. Our energetics, just in daily life, become just about what we all dream about, of just being able to do amazing things energetically just because you can. Our bodies change. We become much more able to connect to the multidimensional world much more easily. And in my work, I often think of myself much more as a research scientist. because what I do really has a lot to do with quantum physics. It has a lot to do with universal energies. It has a lot to do with relativity. It has a lot to do with how energy, which is the base of everything from your thought, your earrings, your hair, to planet Mars, to everything is energy. It all comes down to energy. And so when you can start evolving and get to the root of who we really are and what life really is, and start evolving it energetically, everything shifts. So at Star Point, I started getting just a lot of images. And I knew something was coming, so I was playing with it a little bit. And it comes to me in collages. Just there'll be something here, something there, something there. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and how it happens with me, when I'm doing sessions with people, a lot of my new work just comes in the middle of the session. My sessions are they're just like I am doing tonight, just totally improvised. And when I work with someone, we get on the phone, I know what we need to do. And I don't often work in single sessions. I work in programs. I work with like 5, 7, 9, 11 sessions. I work with people a long time to help them progress to different places. And when StarPoint started coming to me, I realized something was different about this. That I was using a specific type of energy, which I've never done before. I just used energy. And it had specific usages, and it had specific qualities. And it was, for me, it was the next step. And I think many of us have felt that sooner or later there's going to be some type of energetic modality, some type of energetic element that is going to be able to do everything at the same time. It's going to be able to evolve you, heal you, shift you, and to just kind of bring us to this place which doesn't have to happen in compartments. Just suddenly everything about you starts in a very even and a very beautiful way, starts to elevate. And so I'm not sure that this is it, but I think that it could be a step in the right direction. So StarPoint Energetics is based on 4 things. And the first one is literally the energy of stars, literally. The second one is advanced energetics, evolutionary energetics, which is what I do, and alchemy, which is being able to use and move and shift energy in dramatic ways. And also there's body work involved in this, and I'm not a body worker. I have someone who I am working with to help develop this, who's an amazing body worker. So it's not just all energy and invisibility. There's an awful lot of work that helps the whole body system start to coalesce and evolve in a very interesting way. So what I'd like to do, if it's okay with you guys, I'm literally developing it now, and just did an event over the weekend, and I threw the agenda away, what we were going to do in the master class, and we just played with this all weekend. And then having you guys here tonight, this is new. I'm still developing it. And I'd like to, if you're okay with it, to let you experience some of this and to see how you feel about it. Is that cool? Okay. I need to water myself. Also, this is always my prop. I can't run around and burn sage, to kind of purify the room, but if you don't mind, I want to spritz a little bit of sacred sage in a mist. That will absolutely just shift things around a bit. And it smells very nice. And no, it's not a marketing ploy. Okay. All right. This is not meditation. This is very dynamic, experiential, advanced work that just gets into everything about you. So I would talk a lot, as you can tell. There will be visuals. I have no idea what I'm going to do, not a clue. I do know that we will hit 6 star points in the brain. I know that. And how we do it will depend on circumstances, people in the room, feeling each person's individual energies. It just happens. So I've located 7 areas in the body that each of them have a certain amount of star points. And when you start to understand it, they're very logical of where they're placed. Now, I'm not an acupuncturist, and I really don't even know where meridians are entirely. But these places, some of them overlap, but some of them don't. So if you would bear with me, try not to refer to the chakras or meridians or acupuncture points that you are familiar with. Try to let that go and just try to experience this for its own sake, if you would. Your job is very easy. You just listen and you feel. This is all about feeling. My work is all about energy, shifting the body, the brain, energetics. You will feel this. You can put your feet on the floor. Is that okay? All right, just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just to get it started, let me do just a small exercise. So keep breathing. I want you to imagine that somewhere around here, you're standing on some gorgeous hill. And it's right now, this time of night. And you're standing there feeling peaceful, open. Whatever your day was, doesn't matter. Maybe imagine we've already done this event, and you're feeling good, and you feel open and expanded. You just want to go out and appreciate something beautiful. So you're standing on some gorgeous hill, and you're overlooking magnificent farmland. Pennsylvania has the most beautiful farmland I've ever seen. And I've also been on the road for 3 years. I've put on 50,000 miles all over the country. I've been on this wild spiritual journey, and I've seen it all. Well, and Pennsylvania just has a heart and soul that I nowhere else. So on my business card it says Mount Shasta, Sedona, and Doylestown. Doesn't quite have that metaphysical ring to it, but it absolutely kind of follows the pattern of what I've been doing. So I'm chattering intentionally. Just breathe and imagine you're standing on that hill. And you're feeling wind blow, which really isn't happening tonight, but you feel it. And you feel it on your face, you feel it on your clothing, knees. You feel it blowing up against your chest. Now don't visualize this, feel it. Use your feeling senses to make your hair move. Have your feeling senses touch your ears, touch your face. Have a little wind go up your nose. Press against your chest. If you have on a necklace, it's flying. Your pants are ruffling. You're feeling wind. And it feels great. And for some reason, it's really coinciding with what you are seeing and feeling across the valley, across the landscape. And because the landscape's so gorgeous, you want to open up to it. You want to feel it, not just look at it. You want to feel it float right into you. And while the wind is blowing, it's blowing against your face, your hair is really blowing now. And it's almost unpleasant. You're almost saying, okay, very nice, Jason, I'm out of here. But you stay. Then it shifts, and somehow it does a 180 and comes and blows from behind. You feel it against your back of your hair, back of your legs. If your shirt is untucked, the tails are flapping, your hair is almost vertical in front of you. Excuse me. And that's not too much fun either. But you're feeling it. If this was wintertime, it would be wicked. But it's not. And then instantly, 99% of your body mass disappears. 1% that's left flows and fills out the rest of you, and you have suddenly gone transparent nearly, and you can feel the wind blowing right through you. What would that feel like? Feel the sensory elements of that, what it feels like to be a screen window. And the wind is blowing right through, it's touching your ribs, your heart, your lungs, you feel it. Touching your brain. It's going through your pelvis, your knees. Just feel what it would be like. Feel what it would be like if wind is blowing from behind. And it's blowing right through you from behind. Very different feeling. It's touching the back of your spine, the inside of your rib cage. It's touching the back of your heart, the back of your lungs, the inside of your rib cage. It's touching the inside of the frontal part of your skull. It's doing everything opposite. You're feeling things and sensations that you've never maybe thought about before. Just feel it. If you want another, imagine that you are in the water. And imagine you are a water being. You are made of water, but you have density. And you're literally walking, swimming, wading through the water. So you're feeling water flow right through your entire body while you have enough contiguous density of water to feel it. But you stay intact. Excuse me, what would that feel like? Very sensuous, much different than wind. How would that feel against your lungs, your rib cage, your heart, your brain? And you have, so your brain would be water, but it would have enough, density to it and is the supercomputer of your life. Your heart would be moving, but water's flowing through it. And then we're going to shift entirely. That was just an exercise. Imagine that all that wind and water it's just energy. That's all it is. I'm trying to sensitize you a little bit more to just feel energy very deeply, to feel it in every single pore, cell, atom that you have. You're feeling it in such dramatically deep ways that you're open. You can feel shifts. You can feel energetics. You can feel your own emotions. You can feel your brain processing. You can feel things about other people, but mostly you're just getting your bodily sensations open to start being able to work with energy in a way that's very cooperative. So we're going to shift to star point right here. I want you to imagine and feel that you have two stars, 2 points of light right in the middle of your pupil. And you're the only one in the whole world who has this. And you don't know exactly what it's for and what it is. When I do this, my eyes dry up. But you're feeling that your middle of the pupil, you have a star point. There is energy, star energy, not starlight. It is star energy, just like up there. Star energy, right in your eyes. Just feel that for a moment. I'm going to see if I can move energy around a little bit and see if you can start to feel something about your eyes beginning to feel a little energetic. We'll move on, but we'll come back to this. There are 5 other points in the head. So imagine you have another one in your third eye, right in the middle of your forehead. Imagine that there's a triangle, a pyramid. The tip is at your hairline. The bottom horizontal is just below your eyebrows, maybe 4 or 5 inches long. And the star point is just above your eyebrows. And you have a star point. You have a star that's generating amazing energy. And maybe not a lot right now, but we'll see. So you have 2 points in your eyes, one in your third eye. Now, interestingly, the first part of star point is to work with the brain. And the first 2 elements are our eyes, our physical and our non-physical eyes. They will have a remarkable relationship as we go along. But tonight, all you're doing, don't imagine this part of it, but just this experience is all you're doing is feeling. It is like you're in the jacuzzi, and all that matters is water, bubbles, and heat. You're lying there experiencing. You're not trying to see anything, move anything, do anything. You're just seeing how your mind, how your brain might respond to star points in your head. Your 2 eyes, your third eye. Now on the exact top of your head as if someone took a toothpick or a little pin and found the place, the start point right in the middle of your skull, right on top of your head, exactly. Find that. And let yourself feel that someone, that I'm walking around behind you, bing, 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 I'm touching each one of you on that place. Your two eyes, your third eye, the top of your head. If you start feeling sensation, some tingle, some energy in your head, that's all the way it's supposed to be. Imagine I could do it again, right on top of your head. Just a little point. It could stick in just a tiny bit. You could feel it. Now imagine right in your pituitary, right in the middle of your head, right in the middle of that. Somehow I put that little toothpick right in the middle, and somehow I have touched a place in the middle of your pituitary gland, and it just comes alive. Or if it doesn't come alive, something is beginning to germinate. So every once in a while, go back with your awareness and feel, touch, see star points in your eyes, your third eye, now the top of your head in an exact place. And now in the exact middle, in your pituitary. And just see if you can feel energy starting to move, come alive. I'm going to fill the room with star energy, bring the vibes up a little bit. If you feel a little spacey, that's all part of it in the beginning. Hopefully what's happening is all the vibrations in your brain are starting to shift. And this isn't just an exercise in raising your vibration. This is working with the mechanics, with the biochemistry, with the neural pathways, with the synaptical explosions, with the blood flow. Now we all know that human beings can access 1/10 of our brain. And in my world what that means is that imagine there are 10 bars, one on top of the other. And the 10th is beyond Einstein. The first is elemental. That's what we can access. Our brain has all that 9/10 of amazing supercomputing potential that we can't touch because we're not smart enough, we're not conscious enough, we're not conceptual enough. Maybe get into second, maybe third. Most people, that first 10th is what it is. What this work helps you to do is push through the first. Start pushing into the second and third. Start letting your brain start expanding and shifting. Our brain can't wait to get out of 3D limitations, of having to be linear thought, of having to have a left or right brain, of having to be analytical or creative. It wants to pulsate. It wants to rise. It wants to do remarkable things that right now we're just in a transition phase of learning how to do that. Everybody okay? Two eyes, star points. See if you can use your energetics. Those of you who are energetic, those of you who are professionals, those of you who use it just because you can. It's like putting your awareness on an itch on your leg, or trying to make your leg itch. We're not trying to do that. The star points in your eyes. Try to feel it. Star point in your brain. On the top of your head. Middle of your brain. Just feel it. Just imagine you're in some kind of cosmic jacuzzi, and all you're doing is just feeling the experience. Now each section has an activation point that makes the whole configuration come alive. In this one, it's the exact center of the back of the brain. The back of the head. So as if I'm going around with some little pointy instrument to find the exact spot. The exact spot. And it's like pushing the reset button. Imagine I touch that spot right in the back of your head. In time, this is just the first, perhaps later tonight when we continue, you'll have a better experience. We're just getting started. But when you touch the point in the back, it brings alive, it awakens the back of our brain, which until now seems like, frontal lobe, our senses are in the front, our eyes, nose, mouth, ears are pointing forward. We don't do much with the back of our brain, back of our head. We don't do much about our backs at all. Activating this star point in the back of your brain suddenly illuminates the brain, and your brain in the back doesn't like being so out of touch. It wants to have consciousness. It wants to have sense. It wants to be able to have some experience more than just being in the background someplace. And if you think about it, the evolved human brain, at some point or another, it's like this microphone. If you take off the handle and this was round, our brain wants to be round. Not round really, but it wants to have sensory, it wants to have consciousness, it wants to have intelligence, it wants to be able to be this completely 360-degree mechanism that processes entirely. It wants the back to be as conscious and interesting as the front. It wants the sides to be interesting as well. It wants the whole thing to have some kind of much greater expanded ability than we do in 3D. So this work is starting to elevate to that point. So almost like, the plates on the stick and you've got to go over and spin the plates to keep them from falling off. Every once in a while, go with your awareness back to your two eyes. Back to your third eye. Go to your pituitary. See if you can feel it. See if you can feel your brain. We don't feel our brains much. We feel our heart beats. We feel our lungs go. We feel cramps. We feel our stomach. Headache really isn't feeling your brain. Our brain doesn't have real nerve sensitivity like the rest of our body does. Our brain doesn't really have pain in that way. Most people go through their whole lives never really feeling what their brain feels like. Our brain's a magnificent thing that we don't even understand. Eyes, third eye, top of your head, back of your head, pituitary. See if you can feel some energy flowing. See if the back of your brain starts to vibrate a little differently. Just feel it. It's perfectly safe. This is just pure energy. It's like sitting under the stars. It's sunlight times a million. It's energy. So just feel it for a bit. Now we'll move into the second phase, and we won't do more than the second phase tonight. Second phase starts bringing literally brain energy into the body. Now how cool is that? To bring the intelligence, the consciousness, the evolution, the expansion of your brain energy into your cells of your body. So they start to become smart, evolved, expanded, dimensional. So right in the brainstem, where your neck and your brainstem, before it becomes your spine, find the point. There's a point that's right here, right in the back, and it's like I go around and I just touch that point, right in the back. Right in the back. This connects your body to the brain activation going on in your head. See if you can feel something. When I do this, my shoulders start to go. I can feel it flowing up and down my spine. It just starts flowing down. Brainstem. Find another one right in the middle of your spine, right in the middle. It's like I come up behind you with this little pointy thing and I find the spot in the middle of your spine and jab you and go, whoa! Little rush. Just find that one place right there. Touch your eyes, the third eye, top of your head, the exact point. Pituitary, open it up. Imagine that it's like this really tight bud in the spring, and touching it opens it little by little. Those of you who work with that intuitively and have a developed pituitary, find a star point in it that's been there. It's like, we're about to have some kind of cicada invasion of 17 years are coming out of the ground. I think a few thousand years, a few million years, star points have been waiting to activate. Brainstem. Right in the middle of your back. It's like you just get the willies. Then move up. There are two more on the back of your shoulders, on that flat bone. On the back, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the shoulder blade, but it's on the back. And there's spots right in the middle of it. You'll find, maybe it's to the side, but it's right on that flat spot. Find them. And just get them flowing. And the activation point for the second phase is the sacrum. There is this magic point right on that flat bone. Just feel it, that little touch. And it's like illuminates these 5 points in your body. They're connecting with the 6 points in your head. And you're creating the beginning of a flow. Just feel it. Your eyes, third eye, top of your head, pituitary, back of your head, brainstem. 2 shoulders if you want to go there first. Find the point. See if you can feel the rush go up your spine, or feel something flowing. The exact center of your spine, and this point on your sacrum that just enlivens everything. Well, the first phase of this, the first few times, you just experience it. And what's beautiful about this, I've worked with it a lot over the past. It's only been 2 or 3 weeks. It seems like it's no time at all, but I must have worked with it with 15 people on private sessions and maybe 30 or so in events. And the results have been quite promising. They've been really, really interesting, very exciting. See if I can get that fly to be quiet with star point. I have so much more to adventure with, to investigate. So if we hit star point, top of the head, and sacrum, and one in the middle of the rib cage in the front, what'll happen? If we go into the third eye, we go into, the 2 shoulders, and we go into the middle of the brain, what'll happen? There are all these extraordinary things that I'll take time to investigate and see what happens. This is really early on it. But as it's beginning to evolve, it starts working with all of our systems. It starts working with emotions. It starts working with the way our brain works. It starts working with our senses, our awareness, our energetics. It's shifting us very slowly. It isn't like, hopefully, the beginning is intense if you're feeling it, but it evens off, so it just becomes who you are. throughout the day, I'll just be mindful. I'll just think of the start point in the back of my head. I'll do this here. It's just get things spinning. And it just brings you to these remarkable levels of energetic awareness. And I use it in sessions. I'm teaching people it, experimenting with it, but I'm using it for, lots of different issues that people have about, their past, their present, wounding they still have, blocks they have. They need to increase their professional abilities dramatically because their clients and students are becoming as evolved as they are. It's a really wonderful evolutionary place, conceptually. So it begins with just the experience of feeling the energy, of letting it start to activate different elements inside of you. And if you are feeling it, this is really fundamental, the way it really can start moving and using it. I have vortex healing and theta healing and matrix energetics. Those are pretty lofty goals. In some ways, I'm thinking that this has that sort of teachability, learnability, evolvability that can really help people to shift lots of things instead of going to individual places to do their shifting, and to learn how to do remarkable things, personally and professionally. We'll see how that goes, but that's the goal. And I've been on the road for 3 years, and the last year I've been doing events all over the place. I've done, I think, 25 or so this year so far. And it'll start shifting. Now I know how to do events. I did lots of them in Sedona and in Mount Shasta, but gradually doing events of this type. I mean, not this, but when I do master workshops and things. But it's going to shift in the fall to bringing this nationally as I develop it. So we'll see. So for me, it's a blast, just having the ability to be able to bring things through like this and to start to refine it and change people's lives with it. Sometimes I feel like I've got the best job in the world, and working with really wonderful spiritual professionals to help them to hit new levels and to find deeper elements inside themselves. And just people who want to. Interestingly, I'm working with right now many people who really didn't travel through the New Age. They are coming alive now. They don't know modalities. They don't even know what tarot cards are in some ways. But they felt the shift and had no idea what they were feeling, but they knew that something was happening. And I'm finding a lot of people finding me for that reason too, which is again like the cicadas coming out of the ground. But they just are feeling something, and they're not the type to feel things indiscriminately. It's very interesting. So it feels to me like it's time to really push the boundaries more and to find ways of teaching people things. Everything I do is for self-empowerment. There's not the Jason Morgan way. I teach people many things, but the whole idea is to have you become as self-empowered and as masterful and as happy as possible, and being able to perpetuate your own growth, your own healing, your own professional mastery. It's not that you have to follow the book and come to 15 seminars and go to each level. We might do that, but it's going to be very different. So I'm not getting a high sign, but I figure I probably should, because I think Chaz is out cold, and he's supposed to do the ear thing or something, and he hasn't. So should I wind it down? So he does this in the master classes too. He goes off to Piscataway or something and comes back later. Is it a good time? Okay. So if you would like to take a break, let's do that now. And thank you for joining me here. And who is it? Thank you. I apologize for sweating. Look at this. And I'm wondering about the video. I'm going to look like I went scuba diving. I took my shoes off so I can at least. I think the energy, when your brain starts vibrating, when I work with people, I often get hot. Your vibrations are changing, but this is a little ridiculous. But anyway. So, questions, please. Anything? Yes.
You had started off saying that this wasn't a meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I find that, you're saying a meditation is being like a verbal journey. When I think of meditation, sometimes I just think of blank mind being a meditation.
Right, that's what I think of.
But you're saying that that was not a meditation?
No. It's a dynamic, energetic experience where I use a lot of images and a lot of visuals and take you places, but basically I want it to be experiential. So I use the word journey. To me, meditation, people tend to think that's guided meditation, so it's like something they've done a million times on the same one again and again and again. Everything that I do is just in the moment. So maybe it's semantics, but the way that I look at it is, this is not meditation. Meditation's beautiful, but it's passive mostly. We're going deep and trying to find that quiet place, which is lovely. This energy, there are quiet places, but it's anything but quiet places of trying to evolve.
You were trying to expand it out.
Yeah, expansion, yeah, totally. Okay.
When you're saying this star energy, like, do you consider it, like how do you define it? Is it like a bright light or the energy itself or just like the power of it? Or like what do you
Good question. In my work, I try to stay as simple as possible. I don't name beings. I keep it's the raw, pure energy. It's the quantum physics, it's the stars, it's just the universe without my human interpretation of what it is. So they're not specific stars. They probably will at some point turn into specific things. But then people have a whole different challenge of trying to, now they're working with star constellations and I want to do this. I'd rather keep it just pure energetic reality. So what I'm saying is that I really can't, like I can do so many different things, but how I can do it, I'm not always sure. But I'm taking the energetics of stars that just come to me, and I'm trying to bring you into an experience. We can start feeling what star energy is. And stars, the whole universe, energy, everything is propelled from stars. Black holes and supernovas and all kinds of things. So I think it's about time that we start. My work has always been trying to utilize the energies of the universe. Just what's out there, the sheer, dynamic, unfathomable, huge, vast, endless thing that our 3D mind can only hit that 1/10. We really don't understand it. We can't conceive what infinity is. We can't conceive what... I was doing something recently and I said to somebody, hey, imagine that you're 2 inches away from infinity. Imagine that. What would that mean? Well, it's like infinity, you can't grasp it. Or you're 2 inches away from the end of the universe. So just start playing with your head to try to get you thinking in different ways. Yes?
Are you open to like doing scientific things where, to calculate?
Yeah, there's so much to this that this is, look how...
Obama has $1 million, that $1 million towards the brain, study the brain.
Yeah, I don't know if that, I don't think Obama, they're ready for me. But yeah, no, that's a good question. I think that eventually, one of the things that I tell people is even though I can do stuff that so many people can't do, all I am is a prototype of what we're all going to be able to do. I'm evolving myself, and I'm being evolved by forces and by beings and all kinds of things. I have this remarkable, squad, where it's more like an infantry, millions of them that work with me. But the point is that we all reach these places, that we all evolve on these levels, because sometimes I feel like I'm some 5-dimensional being kind of hanging out on Earth and trying to teach people how to shift and evolve out of 3D so you can start to evolve to a place where maybe the planet will survive. If we get out of this consciousness of hate and violence and ethnicities and, all this stuff that's been happening recently. So I don't know, this is only like 2 or 3 weeks old, and it's already really evolved. I could probably just hang around with this stuff and do this all over the place. But there's so many more layers to come, so I don't know. I'll be developing this over the next, probably the rest of my life. But who knows in a year from now what it will be able to do. Maybe it will be able to be used in some of those ways. Maybe the AMA will think that this is wonderful in 15 years. I don't know. It could.
I felt it pulling up.
Yeah. That's the very top point. That's your connection to just the universe. So you started to have interaction. And of course it's our crown chakra, and everybody has their different interpretations of these things based on what you know and what you've done and what you practice and who you are. But I try to have people to just not think of the stuff that you know and just have these work on their own. So that would be, you're experiencing this, even though it's just one, if you're having a semi-profound experience, and that means that you can do this. So that your first experience was really kind of a universal connection, which actually is beautiful.
Yeah, I definitely felt it.
Good, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to comment. Thanks for coming out.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Everything, I've been meditating for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think it was drugs, been LSD, and all these different things.
Yeah.
And my meditation, man, like I've gone to places that no drug have ever taken.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to expanding and
Right.
trying new things all the time. I've had my body like, be gone and be
Yep.
part of the universe.
Yep.
I've had the full, I've had everything possible. Magical spiritual experience. It's regular.
That's wonderful.
And even like the visualization, the light and stuff, the meditation has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, this is another way we follow. I'm open to anything, but I'm.
Yeah. Well, you're a traveler. You know, meditation is one way of saying it. You know, you're evolved. You know, you're doing things that are quite significant. So, not evolved forever, but, you know, you've taken... what I love is when people use their own initiative, their own imagination, and they boldly go. You know, I try to make people, or not make, but try to influence people to be fearless. Just be fearless. This is all beautiful stuff. Spirituality is fabulous. You know, when you start getting off the grid and you start following ascended masters, they're beautiful beings. But when you kind of go off and you start really going in your own directions, finding your own beautiful discoveries, that's when it gets fun. That's when your life starts changing dramatically, when you're not following somebody else's creed or someone else's footsteps. You just go. And you have the confidence and power of knowing that you can do that if you want to. That's breaking through that human-centric 3D thing. Most people don't feel like they can. You're supposed to follow someone else who has this tremendous power. This is what the shift and what 5D stuff is bringing to us. We can do it ourselves.
Yeah, that's what I just always believe that we all have it inside us.
Yeah.
And like even when I change my eating, I change
Yeah.
everything. My life just gets clearer.
Yeah, it does. You're good. Just great. Congratulations. You're flying. You're responding. 2012 does exist, the whole shift. I think it's 2012 to 17. I think it's a 5-year shift, and each one of them is bringing us to another level. And I'm so, you know, aware of those things. What I'm doing, teaching, learning, what I'm teaching and using energetically last year was pretty amazing. What I'm doing this year, look at Starpoint. Wham! Just hits this whole other place. I can't imagine what 2014 is going to be. I just can't imagine. In 2017, you know, that's just, I couldn't imagine being in this place right now myself, or so many people with whom I'm working that are finding their way through their own osmosis. So it's real. What's happening is absolutely real. Yes, hi, nice to see you again.
When you were doing tonight, I do my best to not meditate or to follow what you were doing, and then all of a sudden I was like had my own little vision, or maybe I fell asleep, I don't know, but it was like somebody was here. I always thought it was you, but I think there were two fellows. But somebody had a pyramid, a small pyramid. They put it up to this area of me, and it's like, then it brought me to, because I don't know if I felt a jolt of energy, but I guess it's a feeling like your muscles kind of tighten for a second.
Uh-huh.
And I was felt nauseous for a second.
Really?
And so then I kind of was, whatever you call it, grounded or whatever, and I started listening to what you were saying again. I was hearing your voice, but
That's fine.
not making out what my brain was.
That's okay. That's okay.
But so then I started listening, and you were talking about between the eyes and the third eye, and I thought, that's nothing relevant to what I was hearing.
We're all different. We're all different. I mean, as I remember, you're advanced. You know, you've been, you know, on the path in one way or another for a long time. I don't have an answer. You know, I think that you're experiencing it your own way. If you can try to just erase it all, if you can try just to kind of be present with the star points themselves, but if you're having experiences like that, then obviously you're supposed to. So maybe, no, I wasn't. There's no beings in this work. You know, this is just pure stuff. I mean, I'm sure there is, but they're not supposed to be manifesting, and they're not supposed to be working individually with people yet. And feeling nauseous, I've had some people say that because our body's vibrating very differently. I had someone almost throw up the other day. And it was great because she was passing all kinds of different beliefs were going, and it was like a cleanse in a way. And once she kind of got through that, she didn't throw up, but I kind of wish she had, just to kind of get childhood out on the toilet bowl would have been great. Like look at it and go sayonara and see it, you know, and flush it, and you know, you feel great.
I guess it was because
Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe that's, energetically, that's where you need to start working, in your diaphragm and somewhere there. See, this work is really powerful, and I'm using specific points, but what it does, it's going to seek its own level, like water in a stream. The whole point of, one of the points of this is when we get the star points activated, things just start occurring. Just your body starts to elevate and purify, bless you, and starts shifting and vibrating differently. So everything, your intestines and your spleen and your heart, everything starts to come to a higher place. So if you've worked with healing, you know that when you start healing really difficult stuff, it's awful for a long time. There's a physical, emotional, psychological reaction. So as our bodies are shifting, we're having physical reactions.
It seemed like it was a joke from that pyramid.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it was your experience, so I just investigate it. Anyone else before I melt? Yes, young man.
I don't know if this is going to come out good.
It probably won't.
I didn't even explain it correctly, but is the connections of the star
You ought to know this.
have to do with, you made a statement about raising your consciousness, raising everything together at one time, and part of one of the star points is the back of your head, your
Mhm.
brain, which you don't use, is to open up your brain and to pull this all together to get you up to be able to experience
Mhm.
this.
Yes,
Does that make any sense at all?
absolutely. Yeah, you've been experiencing this, right?
Okay.
Let me tell you a story about Tom. I did an event a few months ago, and we did a Friday night intro, and then I did a workshop. And Tom was in the audience for the 2-hour Friday night from 7 to 9:30. And it was there were about 30 people there. And it was one of those nights where there were a lot of people who were interested and some people who wanted to check me out. But it also was a really snowy night. And it seemed like people chose to come there or go to the movies. Like there was just they could have been at the Republican National Convention or church or something. And so I had, 25 people that were really interested and 25 people who thought I was nuts. And so I'm trying to work. I've never had a group like that I was trying to, women were shaking their head at me, and I thought, oh my God, they see horns on my head and all kinds of stuff. So I'm trying to give the people, and they were all dispersed in different places. There was a family with kids, which I thought was wonderful. So I was trying to bring the whole thing down so kids could understand it, but elevate it so, grown-ups could understand it too. So I'm working with Tom now. Tom's gone through the roof. He went from someone who had a lot of ideas, didn't know what he was feeling, knew he was having some awakening. And we've been working together now for 3 months, 4. But he was testing me to see if I knew my stuff. And he was asking me literal questions like, prove it. And I'm going, oh my God, how do I prove this? So, and he, in his own way, he was going through, and I had a lot of other people asking me very direct, sort of unprovable questions, because this is energetics and relativity and science and stuff. So anyway, I thought I blew it. I thought that night was terrible. I told Susan Duvall, I don't know, we ended 15 minutes early because I just had nothing else to say. And it was a really hard crowd. So that's how a folk singer or a comedian, when half the crowd would rather be someplace else. But it ends up we're working together, and he was testing me out. So it was, it always amazes me because I keep telling him, get out of your head, get into your body, get into your energetics. You know exactly what the answer is. Exactly. So let's start right here. Any more questions before we do? Yes.
Yeah, when you were telling us where to go, you said that, and I'm confused, because you said it and then you focused on it, that makes it activated?
It takes time. It's like learning how to meditate, like learning how to drive a car, learning how to do anything, learning how to work with energy. Everything about my work is feeling it. So if you don't feel it there's a chance you may never feel it because you may not have that kind of energetic sensitivity. I have people I've worked with that don't feel energy profoundly, but they're amazing energy workers. They can't quite get that feedback, get that loop. Like when I work with someone, I'm feeling all kinds of stuff. I know what's going on with their past. I know what's going on when they're 12 years old. I know all these things. And some people just don't really have that gift, so they have to use a lot more intuition, and their work is great. But I keep patting them on the back going, you're really doing great, and they don't believe it. So for you, I think, were you feeling things?
I mean, yeah, but, you know, not an adult or anything like that.
Yeah. It takes time. It takes time because these are elements inside of you that you've never used before. It just takes time to see if, you know, you have this capacity, really, of being able to feel energetics in this precise way. So just continue with it and see. There's a breakthrough point. There's a tipping point that, you know, a lot of people, when we're going through this, and we've only done it once, you know, so we haven't done a lot, but suddenly you can just tell the people have that moment of, whoa, you know, so.
When you're working with a client, you just keep going through those spots until they...
Oh, no, that's just the beginning. When I do a lot of different work, this is just something that I'm creating a beginning now. Like when I work with people, I just freeform it. Whatever we're going to do, we do. You know, it's just, I have this endless amount of ability to do a lot of different things. But just to teach it, these are the star points that we need to start to activate. So once you start to understand where the star points are, then the fun really begins. Okay? Yes? Oh, no? Okay. Anyone else? All right. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't put, yeah, there are 3, just so there are actually 20 in the whole body, but I'm only doing some of it tonight. Okay. And I didn't put that sheet. I thought we'd only do the head tonight, but we went into other parts of the body. So if you want to email me, and I'll send you a document that has all the points on the whole body. So, okay. Alrighty, I'm going to try to set a record for sweating, so get the clocks going. I'm sorry, I don't quite know what this is all about, but maybe I'm more aquatic than I thought. I must be an Atlantean. Ready? Ready? Everyone ready? Ready? I think what I'll do is I'll do a little bit more star point, and then I'm just going to bring us all back to a nice neutral energetic point, and then just see what comes and do something completely off the cuff. How's that sound? Just give you a different kind of experience. Ready? Good. Alrighty now. It's funny, I have words when I'm about to begin a session, when I, either an event or on the phone, we'll chat, and for some reason I feel like I'm 12 years old. I go, alrighty now. And so that's, just everything shifts. And when I say, all right, just breathe. When I say just breathe, the energy just, everything changes. So those seem to be my, my go buttons. So just breathe. Just breathe and feel. And if any of you want to hose me down, that would be wonderful. Often in events, I fill the room first. I shift the attitude. I can kind of do what I want with energy and shift it around. So I'm going to bring the whole room into just a pure, nice, smooth star point energy. Then we'll get more specific. So your bodies, your feeling senses. Imagine that you are a water person walking through water, feeling it going right through your body. What does it feel like? Open up all of your bodily sensations of feeling energy everywhere, like you are this mesh person. And if wind blows through, you feel it. If water flows through, you feel it. If thoughts go through, you feel it. If people, energies, come near you, you can feel it. So imagine, I'm going a little bit off track, but still staying on it. Imagine in the middle of the room, underneath, between those two big beams, there's this huge star, the size of, it's big. It's like 5 of those big gymnasium balls. It's big. big star. And the cool thing about stars is that when we look up at stars, we just see one side of it, one point. You know, we do revolve around the sun, so we see it all the way around. But stars are like this. They're just completely round. And they have energy in 360 going in all these directions. So imagine right there, I'm going to put one right there, that there's a huge big star. Kind of like the celestial mirror ball, right there. And see if you can pick up on it that there's something gigantic in the room. And it's just setting the tone. Imagine that it, along with me, are working with you energetically right now. All you're doing with it is feeling it flow through you. Now as you do that, let's activate the 6 points in the head. So right in the middle of your eyes, your physical eyes, imagine and put there that you have stars in each one. Real stars, like looking up at the sky, you've got radiating, enormous, but they're teeny because they're here. But they have massive, unimaginable power. And they're right in your eyes. And now you have one right in your third eye, and it's bigger than it was before. It's about the size of a golf ball right now. I have a lot of theories on the third eye. We all know what the third eye is. For me, in the work I do, the third eye is a portal and a vortex. Amazing things go in it, and amazing things come out of it. It's much more universal. It's much more dimensional. You know, I think it being the center of intuition and a lot of spiritual truth is beautiful. But when you shift it and make it even more multidimensional, it's amazing. It's like traveling through the universe, but then having the universe travel through you. So imagine that you have this magnificent star, no name, don't make it beautiful or anything, just let it be a star. And start seeing if you can feel an interaction. You've got two physical eye stars and one non-physical eye, which really isn't an eye, but let's call it that anyway. And in my world, it's portal and a vortex. It's like a black hole that's not scary, that goes to amazing places, and it's energetics that comes out of it that are remarkably transformational, and they are ours. A little sidebar here. Everything I'm showing you and teaching you tonight, they're yours. It's who you are. This stuff is like those cicadas in the ground. It's coming out. You're being able to access it. Now find dead center on the top of your head. Dead center, as if I have a little straight pin and I am finding that dead center place on the top of your head. And I'm pressing it just a bit and activating like I'm pushing a reset button. And getting energy right on the top. Whatever your feelings are about crown chakras and anything, just don't go there. Just feel this one point on the top of your head. Now you've second time around, so it might be easier to find it. The pituitary right in the center of your brain, right in the middle, which is incredibly mysterious. I think in 3D, even metaphysically, even advanced consciousness, and even spiritually, we've only begun to tap into what it really is. That in a 5D capacity, our pituitary is really, it's our multidimensional brain button. This thing starts really evolving our brain and us. So with your awareness, touch your two eyes. See if you can get them. When I do this, my eyes dry up. Third eye, as I said, I could play around with this for the rest of my life and star point and see what it does in elevated ways. Pituitary, touch it. Wake it up. Imagine it's a tight, tight, tight bud of a flower. And it starts to shift and becomes more star-like. but it's in the center. And it starts to 360 radiate out. And as it's doing this, it's emitting gorgeous evolutionary energies into your pituitary and into your brain. It's like a broadcasting tower that the broadcasting point is broadcasting 360. Now find the top of your head again, that one point right on the top. There's one point. Now the fun. Touch in the back of your head, the exact back of your head, as if you were doing latitude and longitude. And imagine that I'm walking around behind you and I touch the back of your head with a little straight pin. Doesn't hurt, but you feel it, and it activates. And it starts to flow. It starts to interact. It illuminates the back of your head. So get your start points with your awareness. Remember the silly little visual, the plate's on a stick. Every once in a while, go over and spin the plate so it won't fall. What really just go and activate your two eyes, your third eye, pituitary, top of your head, and now the back, and zing. Now I'm going to reveal something which I haven't talked a whole lot about, and this is really exciting. I think I found the fourth eye. In the back of our head, in the same way we have the front of our head's third eye, and that is a multidimensional portal or multidimensional aspect of our three-dimensional life. When we activate the back of our head, and it's no longer just the junk in the back of the closet that's in the dark and we don't see it, when you activate the back, the whole back of your head illuminates. And it starts giving your whole brain the sense that it's conscious all the way around, that it's intelligent all the way around, that it can evolve all the way around. And if you think about multidimensional beings, my guess is that their brain isn't just focused on the frontal lobe, that there's a 360. Whew. And I was playing with this, and I think actually this came through on the Chaz wasn't there. I did a master class through Susan Duvall's organization over the weekend. And I had an agenda. I'm famous for throwing the agenda away anyway. But I threw the whole theme away, and we just did this. But it was on Sunday, somewhere early in Sunday, that suddenly this fourth eye appeared. And it's this, imagine that point in the back of your head, just the point. And now above the point, imagine what it would be like if you suddenly have this multidimensional third eye that we don't even know what it does yet. And the whole back of our head, which has been very quiet, processing whatever it processes in the dark back there, suddenly we have an aspect of reality. That in the same way the third eye has energized our 3D brain and our 3D non-physical experiences and spiritual ones, the fourth eye takes us, I think, into like 10, 12, 15 dimension. We're not ready for this yet. I don't think I'm ready for this yet. I mean, I feel like a NASA guy or like a scientist who found some new strain of something or other, and it might be nothing. It might be something unbelievable. It might be what we all need to have this fourth dimensional eye, which makes the third eye seem like a golf ball. This is really something. Now, while we're thinking about this, find that spot in your brainstem, down from the curvature of the back of your skull. It's right where your brainstem is about to become your spine. And it's a point that if you find it, it's like a funny bone. If you can find it, it gives you that zing. Now, this brings all that energy into your body. It starts to flow differently. And one of the cool things, I said it before, it brings evolved brain energy into your body. It brings your evolving brain into your body to start your cellular structure, to start your organs, it starts shifting wounding and body memories. It changes your biochemistry. It's a remarkable thing. Then find in the middle of your spine, right in the exact middle, I've got my little pin, and I find that one ticklish point that just whew, opens it up. Then there's one down on the sacrum, on the flat part behind your hips. Just it's around the crown chakra, but it's just, you find that one ticklish point, that one point. The back of the head is the activation point for the head, and the sacrum is the activation point for the body. And right now, bring your attention to your sacrum and see if you can feel some flow in the back of your head. And see if you can create flow up and down your spine. And if you can't, just imagine there's all this circuitry going on. And imagine that it's almost alien, not really alien, but it's advanced. It's like it's something that we just haven't had yet, or most of us haven't, that it's something remarkably advanced. It's this incredibly wonderful energetic evolutionary capability that we're getting because we're becoming so much more energetic. So spin the plates, 2 eyes, 3rd eye, top of your head, pituitary, back of your head, zing. Brainstem, it starts to flow down. Middle of your back, just kind of brings it into a more full midsection bodily experience. Sacrum ties it into something spiritually sacred and just energetic down there. Just feel that. Now we're going to move on and do the 3rd level. So go to the exact middle of your throat. For men, it's probably around the Adam's apple someplace. Again, it's that point. You just know it's there. And suddenly, this is our communication center with chakras, right in your throat. I guess if we were going to, no, it's not a tracheotomy, that's lower. But it's right here. It's right in your throat. And when you feel it, it can kind of get, when you do it for a bit, you feel the rushes go up your spine. But right here in your throat. And the sensation might just be this clearing feeling. And in your throat, it just starts to feel like there's something going on there. It's like it's waiting to receive information and figure something out. There's something happening right here in your communication level, I think with yourself. But it's opening up a whole different level of perception and understanding. Then find right in the center of your rib cage, right in the middle. Again, another specific point. Find it. It's like the funny bone point, or when you get whacked in the knee, it's the reflex. Right, find it. Then in your navel, I've always wanted to try to figure out doing some work with the navel because it's everything. It's how we are here. It's the connection to our mothers. It's the whole birth process, and doing something that dimensionally works with the navel. So I'm happy to be able to do that. So we do the throat, the middle of the rib cage, the navel, and the last one here is the perineum. It's that fleshy bit between our legs. A little embarrassing to talk about it, but it's that place that's between our private parts. It's just a fleshy little place. It's easier to find with men, I think. But it's right in between, and it's really sensitive when you just energetically try to find that one little spot. And then perhaps your midsection is beginning to just expand, feel energetically alive. So spin the plates really quickly. You don't have to go through them one at a time. I just kind of think about them all and get them spinning. But 2 eyes, 3rd eye, pituitary, top of your head, back of your head, brainstem, middle of your back, sacrum, throat. Oh, I forgot. Shoulders. behind it, 2 points, and light those up. Now hopefully you're feeling a lot of energy surging, or just even pulsating, or feeling, it's like your cells start coming alive. Go to your throat, middle of your chest, belly button, sacrum. Think about the shoulders. We have to add that energy in. I didn't do that. My apologies. So bring in a flow. So your whole body's beginning to feel that it's alive. Just remember, you're in the sauna, the jacuzzi, water, heat, bubbles, you're just feeling. You're not trying to see anything, do anything. If you're having visions or if things are happening, that's fine. But just try to feel it. What you're doing is reorienting your whole 3D vibrational structure. You're bringing yourself to a place where everything about you, not becoming intellectually smarter, but everything about you is shifting. Your body's ability to heal itself is changing. Our ability to find our emotional wounding is becoming easier. Our ability to shift out of those things without having to go through months of recovery, years of talk therapy. I can work with people in 3, 4, 5 sessions and accomplish deep things that would take a decade of talk therapy. This, I think, just brings us to such a place of constant, even smoothness that all that stuff just goes away. It can't vibrate on this level. It just goes. Because you're having star energy, which vibrates pretty high, and your own energies, and 2012 shift energies, all sorts of things are happening. It's all beautiful, it all flows. And all of you is beginning to just So I'm going to flow energy through your minds. I teach people also, you can shift into a beautiful, it's not a meditative state because there's a lot of, it is and it isn't. It's an energetic meditative state that it's so easy just to flow beautiful energy through your head, and instantly your thoughts go away, your emotions go to Seattle. You're just in this place where everything flows. You're in this nice flow. You're not out of body. It's more like you're in your inner universe. But it's so easy with this work to just flow it into your brain, let it start interacting with your brain vibrations. You don't have to think about it. Just bring it in and just smoothly. It just takes all the hard edges out, all the jagged points, too many thoughts. It certainly is a good thing to do at the end of the day, but it's something good to do all day. To just bring yourself to this place where, and the wonderful thing is you're doing it for yourself. It's not necessarily a spiritually originated process. It's not Zen. It's not Buddhism. It's this energetic, advanced, energetic frequency that when you start vibrating higher, you start being able to tell and feel energy differently. You can start creating these things yourself. Now go to the perineum, that spot in that delicate place. Just go there. Certainly no pins down there, but imagine just there's this little toothpick, just find that one place. It's like the funny bone place. When we were working with this over the weekend, I had this image that was almost like this gorgeous scent was rising from there. It was like floral scent started rising from that one place. And I had this experience like I was being enclosed inside of a tulip or inside of a rose, that from that place it wasn't energy coming down. It was from that place energy that was sweet and beautiful going up. And I thought, wow, this is something. And it flowed all the way up. And it was working through all the stuff that I was doing with everybody, start from the brain down. But this was lovely. It was very human in a lovely way. It had a lot of softness to it, but it was strong. So we have all this star energy which has power and subtlety. Perhaps it was, sacred feminine, not exactly sure. Maybe it's something that we all have. It was very soothing. It was just something that was just really soothing. And it felt like you just, whoa, I've never had a problem in the world. But it was very different. It had a different texture. It was a different density. It was, had more flow to it. But it came up like it was a scent with density and smooth flow. And it just worked its way right up. For me, I had some trouble getting it past my shoulders. I'm hard to work on because my energetics are so intense sometimes. So I had to really try to dial it down from my head and my shoulders and just have this break through. So it took me a while. Other people were kind of doing it more easily, and I was going, how do I do it? But it did happen eventually. So it's almost like, two ocean waves flowing through each other, or two fog banks going through each other. And it creates a whole different sensation that you don't have to try to figure out what it is. It's like a lot of different things at the same time. Just enjoy it. And I'm also thinking that down in that area, I have never used that area in healing emotional trauma. So emotional sexual trauma, we're in the neighborhood down there. And so I'm going to start investigating what the perineum energy, and maybe people do this all over the world. I just don't know. I don't follow other people's work. I just do my own thing. So if I do something or say something that other people have done, I just don't know it. I like to keep my work as clear as possible. So just let that energy, just a little activation, let it flow up. It's very smooth. It's not necessarily feminine, it's not masculine, and it's not totally androgynous. It's like it's a fourth. It's almost like we have a fourth gender. If you could consider male-female androgyny, it's like there's something else. And I don't want to give a name to it. I don't want to guess and go, oh, yes, it's our spiritual, kumbaya. I don't want to go there. I just want to experience it in a very pure sense for now. Because we start labeling things, then we're deciding what things are rather than experiencing it. So right now, think of an issue in your life. It doesn't have to be something catastrophic, but think of something that is part of you that you wish wasn't. And it doesn't have to be, anything that's it could be if you want, but I'd rather you don't, because that could open up a whole different can of worms. But something that a habit you've had, a pattern you've had, a fear you've had, an insecurity you've had, and we could probably trace it right back to its roots in childhood or whenever. But something that even though perhaps you've done a lot of healing on it, it's still around. So find something that you just go, man, if I could get rid of that. Maybe when we're with people, we suddenly become a little bit too full of ourselves, or we become wallflowers, or just something that you wish at this point in your life that seems to be programmed in there someplace, regardless of how much you've done over the years to shift it, change it, therapy, whatever it is. Or it could be something that, you're disrespectful of women, or whatever it is. Not that that's a small thing, that's massive. But maybe we shouldn't go there. But just something that has been a pattern, that if you could start shifting that, man, that would be like the, breaking the log jam. That would be like the pickup stick. When you pick it up, the right one, the whole thing comes apart. It doesn't have to be childhood molestation. It could be, I tell this story a lot. When I was in high school, we had a new girl come in our sophomore or junior year, and she was lovely and smart and pretty. And she became very popular, and people really liked her. Her first day at school, she was in the cafeteria, got her lunch. She's walking across the floor. The whole place is looking at her because she's new. She tripped. The tray goes up in the air, comes down, hits her in the head, and the food is everywhere. First day in school, first impression, probably sophomore year, where everything is such an amazingly emotional trauma. And she went on, she's got a PhD, she's a doctor. I went to my 20th high school reunion 20 years ago, and we talked about it, and that incident, more so than many things in her past, stuff that happened with her father was an alcoholic, I think, and stuff about having a rough childhood, that one incident created more turmoil and insecurity than anything else, not anything, but that was the thing. And I wish I could bump into her now. I could just kind of, okay, let's get rid of that. Maybe she has already. But stuff like that, which really trips us up, we don't always think about those things. You know, you're on your first date with someone, you trip and you skin your knee. Or you're backing up when you hit somebody, you rear end someone. Just stuff like that that's just like, oh my God. Or the first time we're rejected asking, men or women out for a date when we're younger. Just stuff like that we should be able to let it roll. But for some reason, it wheedles into us in this place that we're embarrassed to admit that it actually did. So, awareness, touch your eyes, touch your third eye, touch the top of your head, touch your pineal, back of your head, brainstem, middle of your back, shoulders, sacrum, throat, middle of your rib cage, belly button, perineum. Imagine, try to get your brain going a little bit more. Imagine you've got brain energy that is evolving as we speak, shifting. And it's seeping down with its intelligence and its dimensionality and consciousness and future brilliance once we crack through that first 10th and start working through second, third, fourth, and fifth. That is flowing down into you, and it is taking with it. It's like you're getting this super shift. It's like the universe just blows right through you. Like whoosh. And it takes with it all kinds of programming and all kinds of stuff from the past. That this work, as it develops, I think is going to have some of that capacity. It may not get everything, I may not get it forever, it may be a process. But it takes a lot of percentage out of some of those things that have been so difficult. And it becomes more manageable, and you let it go finally. But imagine right now that you have the universe in your brain, literally, the universe in your body, literally. And I won't go further with more star points tonight, there are others. But imagine you're becoming a constellation. That you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 star constellation that's not going to move, it's not going to turn into anything, but if you were looking up at the sky, you could see it. The ancients would have drawn the lines and created something out of it. You have that. That's you. And perhaps you are literally interacting with a constellation of real stars that we have created tonight that are out there. Stars they're not eternal, but they sure are close. And there's so much work done with stars that I know of, channeling work and working with Orion, the Big Bear, the sun, soul of the sun, all those beautiful things. Let's not make them anything but stars, but let's make them stars from all over the universe. We tend to think that the sky we see looking up from the planet is the sky. That's nothing. I've often thought, all the constellations we see from Earth, they're not there if you look up at Mars. So imagine you're pulling stars from, 2 inches away from infinity. You're pulling them from places that we don't even have any conception about. Some of those Hubble photographs with those beautiful, huge, I saw that they said they found the biggest thing in the universe. It was 1.5 billion light years big. This huge, colorful, gaseous thing, 1 billion light years big. I mean, what is that? And that's like a drop in the ocean. The more that you can get to this place and realize our brains really can't figure this stuff out, and you kind of give yourself to it, then you start shifting into a dimensional brain that begins to figure it out. It's very interesting. And you don't need finite answers. You just get it. Your knowing gets it. We don't need, a lot of people that ask me questions, I say, you know the answer, just shut up and flow the energy, start shifting higher, and you'll just get it in your knowing. It'll just make sense. My work is filled with logic and deduction, tons, in addition to, energetics and evolution and instincts. But logic and deduction, that's part of the whole quantum science. I create so many things by just, well, if this does this, and this has to do that. So a lot of the star points I found, well, if this does this, then maybe that has to do that, and bang, it went on. Other ones were just already there. The discovery process is amazing. So that issue, see yourself just evolving. That issue, if you were a fifth dimensional being and you were living in some interesting place that's a million years in the future, the stuff that bothers us in 3D wouldn't be there. It just wouldn't. It couldn't. There'd be no reason for it. Yet that's logic. So since we're dealing with quantum science and stars and energetics that are beyond just, I think the energetics I work with, I don't want to say beyond the sacred realms, but they're not the sacred realms. They're somewhere else. So anyway, let's start coming back. Don't come back yet. I need to bring you back slowly. So just be mindful that perhaps, anything we work on, we have to work at it. You've got to work at this. When you're healing things and you have tremendous insights and illumination, you've got to work with it. Emotionally, energetically, you've got to shift it and change it. It's an ongoing process. And that's what's happening here. So the things, I can't guarantee you'll never be the same after tonight, but I would give you a pretty strong indication that it's going to open up a ton of different thoughts and possibilities and instincts and curiosity and powers that you didn't know you had, you'll suddenly start feeling. That I will guarantee. Whether you stay with it is up to you. So just see all these star points beginning to diminish a little bit. They're not going out because they've been activated. And if you want them to be, they can go back underground and hang out with the cicadas when they go away again. Or they can stay. And you can work with them yourself if you want. But just let them go out little by little to a point where it's like you're idling your car, it's in neutral. But you can still feel them there, there's presence. Your body can certainly go back to where it was before, but it certainly can go forward now, evolving in places that I don't even understand of what it's doing, but it sure is. And the more our brain evolves, the more you work with the 6 points in the brain and hit the brainstem, but do the 6. And just get that brain evolving and vibrating and frequencies in there that are happening within your own capabilities. Essentially, guys, you're evolving yourself. Now, how cool is that? So be aware that I'll shift the energy in the room. I'll try to make it back to good old Doylestown, where I've sweat another 2 pounds of water up here, and I should collect it and do something with it. Slowly return. Take a breath. Breathe in your nose and feel it in your nostrils. Breathe into your whole body, everything. It's like you're hollow and you're breathing everywhere. Then imagine that you are mesh on the inside and you're breathing through all your organs. You're breathing through emotions that are hanging around and they're just kind of going away, the ones that you want to. Just keep breathing. Slowly come back. Be aware that you still have lots going on around you. You were not out of body, although it feels like it. You were in body this whole time. You were not out in the universe. You were not out in the inner planes. You weren't astral traveling. You were in your own being. This massive, huge existence that you have. but you were inside the contours of your body all night. So look what's going on energetically and dimensionally inside your own skull, inside your skin, and all around it, but in it. I would not advise you to drive for about 10 minutes. I'd advise you to go out and touch a tree or something and listen to bugs. Just do something to kind of get yourself back. But at the same time, I'm finding that a lot of my workshops, people really need to kind of come back. This work, although you still feel expanded, you're right here. You're still present. It's just a bigger expansion of the presence. That you're seeing things right now as if you are becoming fifth dimensional. This is the first step, that you just, whew, this is it. And then this becomes a way of life, and how cool is that? Alrighty, thank you. I think I went over time, but I really appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you so much. Thanks. You good? Yeah, I know. This was rough. I feel like I was in the jungle.
I just want to make a few announcements.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Still not quite back myself, but I just wanted to say thank you everybody for sticking to this. It's already 5 after 10, but if you want to
Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
ground yourself, there's always food back in the room as well. And thank you for coming, and I look forward to then our next meeting, which will be June, I think it's 26th, I'm not sure, 24th or 26th. Look it up on the website, www.spiritsvision.com. And thank you once again, Jason, for the announcements.
Jason will do.
Jason?
No.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, everybody, thank you for coming, and stick around if you want to go a little
We
while.
should have had you talk about if you have classes or seminars or something coming up, right?
Yeah, that's all right. I should have, but that's all right.
Is it not necessary to put protection and all that?
No. This is as pure as it gets.
If you want to announce one,
And plus,
class and seminar.
no, nothing's coming in. In fact, it'll make your protection even better.
You could make an announcement.
Okay, my pleasure. It's good to meet you.
I'm sure. Of course, again, workshop, I guess they'll be up here on the table. Is that
No, there aren't.
there aren't any workshops?
Yeah, there are, but there are not any on the table. You guys, I have some workshops coming up in Collingswood, and they'll. Well,
I'm sorry.
there were these two guys playing golf. Just kidding. I have some workshops coming up in Collingswood, New Jersey. If you want to check out my website, you're certainly welcome to attend.
Is it Jason Taylor Morgan?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's okay.
What is your connection with Collingswood?
With what?
Collingswood.
I have, when I came east almost a year ago, the person who was booking my events booked me around Philadelphia, in Collingswood and Marlton and all those places, and over here first. And I met people. Suddenly I'm living here, which is, I found the energy here and found it really wonderful. And Susan Duvall, who does a lot of events here, you know, we kind of worked together and created stuff. But over in Collingswood, there's Bliss Body Wellness and Studio. And it's where just Lisa O'Brien is the owner. And so I see clients over there at her place, you know, if they want to see me for real, or it could be by phone. So I keep time over there. I do events over there, just a lot. And just someplace I really like to be.
So what is it that you're doing over there? Is it a seminar?
Yeah, the next one are sacred energetics.
Okay.
Of teaching people that you don't need to, you can connect to guides, ascended masters, Native American spirits, all that stuff yourself. You don't need to go to, you know, channelers and like all of us. What's happening on the planet is also getting us to sacred connections where you develop a relationship, you know, with an ascended being. Then they sit down and watch TV with you. Like it's a whole different experience. So it's all part of self-empowerment. And a lot of people can do those things. A lot can't. You know, and so I think opening up people so they can just get the full experience of what humanity's all about, you know, and not have to go to church and not be religious.
I really like how you're not necessarily putting names to things.
Yeah.
Because it's more of a pure.
It's totally
energy.
pure, totally.
And I feel that too. I feel the names.
Yeah.
Things get more in the way. For
It gets
me.
in the
It's
way.
Just the pure energy.
Yeah, it's all about the energy and just accepting it, and it's like you're sunbathing. Without, you know, you're sunbathing with blue
But from
light
the
with,
inside out.
yeah, and the outside in and everything else. Yeah, I've been doing that from the beginning. It's just, that's how it has to be. Is that yours or his? That's beautiful, isn't it? Hi.
Got a point of order here. You kept referring to the pituitary. Did you not mean the pineal?
I do. Well, pineal is down underneath, and the pituitary's in the head.
Well, no, pineal is.
Pineal's in the head, and it's the other way around?
Yeah, precisely. The pineal is what they call the gland.
Absolutely,
of the third eye.
right, yeah. Sometimes my brain kind of does what it wants, but thank you, that's true. Am I doing this right? I don't even know where I am.
Yeah, there's
I
no
don't think I am.
It's like the whole world's gonna collapse. Like that.
Yeah. It's an IQ test, Tom.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I will see you again.
Oh, I hope so.
Looking forward to
I
it,
hope so.
absolutely. I had no idea what a treat I was in for today.
Well.
I had no idea. No, I've gone to several of Susan's seminars and things that she has going on. I didn't know already, so I will for future.
Do you have a card or something?
I don't.
Okay, we'll take one of mine.
I have one.
You have one?
but
Okay,
it's,
good. Well,
there?
great.
Right?
Email me sometime.
I will.
Whatever, that'd be great.
Well, I'm going to be interested in kind of keeping an eye out to see what you're doing and what I can be a part of.
Sure. Be my pleasure.
I'm a pretty regular part of a lot of the things that are going on with Susan.
Yeah. I would have walked out without it. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
If you drive it home, be like, what is that?
I would be. It's waterlogged.
Yeah, that's all right, I'll put it in Zyro.